Joe, Teti, Dale Comstock. We're talking about the 7 fundamentals of shooting. So we've talked about sight alignment, sight picture, grip, stance. Now we're going to talk about breathing. It's one of the fundamentals. Pretty simple, and Dale's got some really good psychology behind it. But this is basically what it is. Combat situation, high intensity on confrontation, your heart rate's going to be up, right? Your breathing's going to be up, sweaty palms, auditory exclusion, tunnel vision, all kinds of shitty shit is going on with your body that you really don't need in a gunfight, but it's going to happen. Breathing's one of them. Here's one way to just take it down a little notch. And again, that 1%, right, Dale? 1% edge. Here's all you got to do. And I do it on the range all the time. Combat breathing. So basically going into, take your shot, taking a deep breath through your nose. Gun comes out. As the gun comes out, you're letting half your breath out through your mouth. Then you go in your trigger squeeze. Boom, or not. But when you shoot, you should not be going, because when you're doing that, the gun's moving. So again, halfway out, hold it, go in your trigger squeeze. There's some psychology behind this as well, and Dale's going to talk about that.
Yeah, so the fight or flight syndrome is setting in, right? So in this case, we're fighting. We're not running away. Nonetheless, biologically, everything it's the same thing that's happening. Joe just talked about auditory exclusion. We're getting tachycardia. All kinds of things are happening. Adrenaline pump is coming in. So we're actually gearing ourselves for a fight. But our primordial instincts are setting in, right? Originally, we didn't have to learn how to pull a trigger. We needed to know how to pick up our big rock and smash the head of a saber-tooth tiger, or chuck a spear, or run like hell. So we relied on gross motor skills. So using fine motor skills, our trigger finger was not part of our. It's not part of our biology originally, right? So what we're doing is we're forcing ourselves to do something that's really unnatural under stress. So one of the things we can do to kind of help ourselves is basically through what I call expedient meditation. Okay, and that is taking just a couple seconds to visualize what you're getting ready to do, seeing yourself going in and making those shots and making good shots and getting a good trigger press and breathing. And so the breathing part of it is every time I exhale, okay, I say to myself, and this takes a little bit of practice, it actually takes some preloading, right? So, what I will do is on my own, I will practice meditation, and I'll do that by exhaling, and I think of the word med. I bring my heart rate down, and I bring myself into another frequency, so to speak, a frequency where I'm more effective, and I do this through meditation. As with experience, you can do this pretty fast. When I was a Delta operator, one of the things we got trained on in the operator training course by our psychologist was to actually do meditation and how to do it rapidly before an event, whether it was a gunfight or whether it was a shooting event, whatever it may have been, something where our heart rate's going to go through the roof and we needed to keep it down. We had to learn how to meditate. So we practiced this so that immediately right before the event we can bring everything down. And actually a key point here is ideally, you want your heart rate under 120 beats per minute under stress, okay? When it goes over 120 beats per minute, you lose your fine motor skills, your finger dexterity is gone. And now you're relying on gross motor skills, large muscle groups, right? And so this is why a lot of police shootings, guys will fire 40 shots at close range and maybe 1 or 2 bullets might hit something, besides the pedestrian or the window or somebody else's car. It's because their heart rate has gone up over 120 beats per minute. They're relying on gross motor skills. They're crunching that trigger and they're dipping that gun and they're heeling that gun. They're slinging rounds everywhere because it's like they're trying to muscle the bullets down range. If you can get your heart rate under 120 beats per minute, now your fine motor skills are kicking in. Now, Joe mentioned something here a second ago about, he's running, he runs to the range with this elevation mask on, and then he starts shooting. Actually, what he's now doing is using a combination of fine motor skills and gross motor skills. It's called compound motor skills. So he's literally going from gross motor skills, running up to the range, high heart rate, all of a sudden downshifted to get to those fine motor skills, okay, which means he's got to regulate heart rate and breathing to get that shot off, because if he's still in the gross motor skill range, he's just going to crunch that trigger and sling rounds everywhere. He's going to be shaking and he's going to be pushing bullets down range. So if you understand that, heart rate's very important, and one of the ways to get it down is by breathing and also by visualizing yourself, your heart rate coming down and you taking those shots and being smooth in your shots, calm throughout the action.
You know, it's funny. I wish I had $1 for every time I've heard people just talk about breathing, including myself. Bill Gates would borrow money from me. Dale gets into an interesting psychology part that very, very few people talk about. But I'm here to tell you, in a real gunfight, this shit matters. It literally can be the difference between life and death. All right, so that was breathing. So next is follow through. And I've heard this misexplained many times, but here is the definition of follow through, period. 1 shot, 2 sight pictures. That's it. That is follow through. So if I'm going to go take a shot, right? I go to take a shot, I take up a sight picture, boom, the shot goes off, the gun comes right back on target, and I get ready to take a second shot. 1 shot, 2 sight pictures. Maybe I won't shoot. Maybe I will, but that gun has got to come back down. You pick up your sight alignment, sight picture, your finger's on the trigger, whether you're going to shoot or not. If you're not, finger comes off the trigger. That is the definition, period.
And that's why earlier I talked about controlled pairs, right? People talk about double taps, and they think that shoot as many, shoot 2 bullets as fast as you can. Actually, no, you can't miss that fast, right? It's a controlled pair. It's 2 single shots fired in rapid succession, applying all the fundamentals each time, including sight picture, sight alignment, the follow through that Joe just talked about. It's not about shooting a lot of bullets quick using one fundamental at one time. It's about applying the fundamentals, those 7 fundamentals, every shot, applying it every shot, just doing it rapidly, under control.
Last but not least, and Dale and I were just talking about this. I mean, you could blow, well, you don't want to blow them, but if you blow all the 6 other fundamentals, do not blow the trigger press. You could do all the other ones. If you screw up the trigger press, chances are you're going to miss. And if you're not going to miss, you're not going to be, if you're trying to take a headshot, that's a tough shot, you're going to miss for sure. So, trigger press. Here's what I hear a lot of people say: squeeze the trigger. Guys, when I say, let me ask you this question. When I say squeeze, what are you like subliminally thinking of? I'm thinking, I don't know about you, I'm thinking about squeeze.
Skills.
Exactly. Squeeze the trigger. You are not doing that. If I say squeeze the trigger, novice shooters especially, I see their hands are moving. It's a trigger press. That is it. And Dale's going to describe what the trigger press is, but I wanted to say that because that was one of the things I wanted to talk about. When people say, squeeze the trigger, that's a novice shooter and that's a novice instructor. It's a trigger press, and Dale's going to explain exactly what that means.
Yeah. So you don't pull it, all right? You don't squeeze it, you press it. And when you press it, okay, everybody's got their, all right. Some people say use the tip of your index finger, right? This meaty portion of the index finger. Some say put your whole trigger finger in the trigger. I have my opinion on it, and having shot with quite a few, some of the top shooters in the world, I will tell you, I'm not going to put my whole finger in the trigger. It's technique, and I guess it's personal preference. And the reason I want to only put the tip of my finger in this trigger is because I want to be able to pull or press the trigger straight back, okay, to get that shot off. If I wrap my entire finger through the trigger guard like this, okay, what could happen is when I squeeze, that's the effect you get, right? I could actually index the barrel. Even a slight amount, you may not even see it, but just a little movement will throw that round off at 15 meters, a couple of inches, easily, okay? Just a little deviation like that will make a huge difference downrange. More also, if I don't put enough of my finger into the trigger, but I push it on the outside, okay? So I'm not quite inside the trigger. Okay, what'll happen is I go to pull that trigger or press that trigger, I get the index the other way, right? Even just a little bit, you may not even actually see it, but just a little bit will be amplified 15, 20 meters down the range, and I'll start throwing around. So I want to get in front of that trigger, and I want to press it straight back. Okay, we talked earlier about the grip. Again, this is why it's important that we have a good grip, so that we keep that weapon level. So we're not taking as long and doing as much work to reacquire those sights and get that trigger press. And by the way, when we press that trigger, when the gun goes bang, we've got to come off the trigger and let that sear reset. Okay, the tendency is pull the trigger and hold it and then try to take a second shot and nothing's happening because we didn't come off the trigger. You've got to come off enough to let it reset before you pull it or press the trigger again, right? So these are some of the fundamentals. I'm going to emphasize again, smooth is fast, can't miss fast enough. advanced techniques are the basics mastered. Okay, go slow, go fast. Don't try to shoot fast. You're not going to be wide open overnight. You're never going to be wide open, nor do you want to be wide open. You want to be a consistent shooter. And the only way that's going to happen is if you apply these fundamentals that we're talking about religiously, and you do it right, and you do it slow. And I don't care who's watching you. Okay, you don't have to impress anybody. Just do your thing and learn how to shoot.
That's right. Guys, it takes a lot to become an accomplished shooter. I've shot a lot. Dale shot a lot. It is a skill that depreciates. Now, I trained with Jerry Barnhart one time, and for 2 weeks, and this guy, if you don't know, he's a world champion IPSC shooter, phenomenal shot. And I asked him, I said, Jerry, you shoot every day. He gets paid for it. He's a pro shooter. And I said, what happens when you don't shoot a day or two? He says, well, Joe, from what I've been told is when you get to a certain level, every day that you don't shoot, you lose 3% of your shooting skill. Now you're thinking, well, 3%, big deal. That's a big fucking deal. Okay? That's a big deal in a gunfight. Okay? That's a big deal. Then you don't shoot the next day and the next day. Unless you've actually done a lot of shooting like Dale and I have done, where literally, like Dale was saying the other day, he can not shoot for a year and pick up his 45 and go out to the range and warm up, and in 30 minutes he's back on his bike. Most people don't have that level of training. Matter of fact, 99% of the people out there don't have it. So if you are wanting to learn how to shoot a pistol, guys, this is an unforgiving weapon. Unforgiving.
One of the things Joe and I talk about quite a bit, we've mentioned in some of our other series, and this is part of our coaching program as well. There's people out there talking about peak performance, right? And here's a classic example where when you're at the top, at the apex of the shooting game, and if you don't shoot one day, your skills start to diminish 3%. That's proof right there that you can't maintain peak performance all the time. Okay, you reach a point where you just can't stay up on the apex. What we teach is optimal performance. That is, maybe we're not on the peak all day long every day, but maybe we're just below that, and we're always in the 80 percentile range, but we're consistent 80% of the time. As Joe said, I can go easily, and usually that's what I do, is I'll go 6-7 months before I ever pick up a gun. I'll go out and teach a course, and I won't even warm up. I go cold gun right off the bat, and I'm usually pretty daggone accurate, and without even having warmed up. And I take a lot of risks doing that because I could miss and embarrass myself. But I have trained long enough that I've built that, again, this muscle memory everybody talks about, which is not muscle memory, it's actually your nervous system. But I've built this system in my body so that this programming, it just naturally happens, okay? At 80%, I might not be 100, the best shot that as good a shot as I ever was, but I'm still shooting at 80%, which is probably going to be, 70% better than my students. So it's okay. And in a gunfight, I'm probably still going to prevail.
So guys, a lot of information here. 7 fundamentals: sight alignment, sight picture, grip, stance, breathing, follow through, trigger press. Practice them at the range. Hold yourself accountable. Like Dale was saying, don't shoot too fast. Find that balance between speed and accuracy, and everything will fall into place. Guys, thanks for watching. If you enjoy our videos, ring the bell.
Ring the bell.
Hey, it's Jimbo over here at TRS Survival with another tip for you. This may be one of the most important tips you ever get if you're ever caught in an urban meltdown. Like say there was a complete breakdown of our modern society, like if the power grid went down for a long time or something like that. Our own government estimates that within 6 months of a massive power grid failure, a shocking 90% of urban Americans will die. Are you ready for something like this? Most guys aren't, or they think they are, but they're really not. Mainly because they've been listening to and getting bad advice from the wrong people. Because while some folks will band together and help each other, most people will simply panic and resort to looting, brutality, and even murder to survive. You can imagine how desperate and dangerous things are going to get. Which is why I brought in former Delta operator and Green Beret, Dale Comstock, to give you the real scoop. Dale's been a combat soldier for over 30 years, and he's seen up close and personal what really happens when a modern society like ours suddenly comes to a crashing halt. It's not pretty, and the survival of you and your family will have little to do with bushcraft skills or what kind of tree bark is safe to eat. So Dale will show you 2 vital survival tips. Number 1, he'll show you exactly what gear and supplies you should pack in your bug-out bag or rucksack, and it's probably not what you think. Most people don't have anything like this ready, or they load up their sacks with the wrong kind of equipment and survival gear. These mistakes can cost you your life, but now you'll know precisely what you have to have ready and what you can do without. And number 2, you'll discover how to operate as a military patrol unit in a live combat situation. Okay, these are advanced military combat tactics almost never taught to civilians. It's intensive instruction that will have you and your buddies or your family operating like a well-oiled combat-ready commando unit. Okay, I wish I could show these videos to you right here, right now, but I can't. I can't risk having my channel banned. But you can get them all for free. Just click on the link in the description. I'll see you there.
Thanks for watching our video lessons here at TRS Direct. Hit the like button down below and consider subscribing to our channel here on YouTube. Hit the bell icon and we'll send you a notification when there's a new lesson available. Thanks again for watching.